all of you, because all of you are involved in this. Because if you challenge and you're the #1 overall, you're gonna get this.
Oh, shoot.
Check that out.
Let's go. Overall right hand.
You're gonna get your name engraved on that. And every year is gonna be a challenge for the #1 arm wrestler in El Paso. You get your name engraved right there, and you get to hold this belt for a year.
Yeah.
It's super cool. It's inspiring. It's gonna be pretty hard to get it, and it's gonna be pretty cool to whoever gets it, and it's gonna be just like motivation to work out stronger and train hard with the team. And spicy and shiny, unique,
Majestic.
Oh. Feels like a real wrestling belt. It's heavy. It's got all the bling bling. It's good.
beautiful,
Drive the bell.
awesome.
Chingón. Lo va a tener algún día. Ten cuidado.
Who is Stephen King Kong? He's an El Paso legend. Big old guy. Got the name King Kong for a reason. 300 plus pounds. Doesn't have big hands, but they're thick as can be. You don't want to end up in that guy's hook. But he's not just a hooker. Once he learned how to explosively top rope, he was dangerous all around. Anybody who ran into Stephen was in for a war. When I first started pulling against Stephen at practice, I couldn't move the guy. He would just lock me in the hook, just wait, and then he'd teach me. He's a great teacher. I owe Stephen a lot for where I am now, and the whole West Texas team owes Stephen a ton because he's been our mentor and a leader and a champion. Now, who is Freddie Sanchez? If you don't already know, you're going to find out. He's been all over the internet making a name for himself, but it's not just because he posts videos, it's because he wins. And he started winning a long time ago, 2013, 10 years ago. This is his 10-year anniversary at the West Texas Arm Wrestling Championships, and he's made a name for himself in the sport. A few years ago, he didn't always take the sport seriously, and he'd still win because he was a natural talent, had speed, and just soaked in that technical art of arm wrestling like nobody else. But now, he's working out hard, and he's focused. He wants to make a name nationwide and maybe even internationally. Watch out for Freddy Sanchez because he's coming. El Paso Arm Wrestling. We are one of the originators of arm wrestling in the USA. Arm wrestling started here in the US back in the 1950s, and El Paso had its first arm wrestling event in 1957 at the local YMCA, and we've just carried on that legacy through the decades. In the 1970s, Jay Hardesty and Tim Hayner running big shows here in El Paso. Died down a little bit, but we've picked it back up. Stephen King Kong, talking about El Paso legacy, he brought arm wrestling back here in El Paso. He was waiting. He was looking for somebody to reignite it. He had his arm wrestling table ready to go, and I just happened to run into him through an internet ad asking, please, somebody come arm wrestle with me. And me and Steven started this back up in 2010. And we've been running arm wrestling tournaments here in El Paso since 2013. This is the 10th annual West Texas Arm Wrestling Championships coming up, and Stephen has made a mark in El Paso Arm Wrestling. So now we've got a new young gun, Freddie Sanchez. He's challenging Stephen for legacy. Once again, we bring up that word because El Paso is deeply ingrained in the origins of arm wrestling. Right here in El Paso, July the 8th, it's going down. Stephen King Kong being challenged by Freddie the Gun Sanchez for the belt to see who is the #1 arm wrestler in El Paso at super heavyweight. But This is not just about super heavyweights, because we have some other monsters here in town. Anybody can challenge for this title. So if you're a light guy and you think you can take out one of these guys, go for it. It's going to be a yearly event here at the West Texas Arm Wrestling Championships. The belts are on the line, and we'll engrave your name on that belt. And it's going to be carrying on that legacy of great El Paso Arm Wrestling.